Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan McKenna, and I'm going to talk to you today about carbon monoxide poisoning and how the Keene Fire Department is taking steps to reduce carbon monoxide related risk in our community. Carbon monoxide poisoning is a leading cause of preventable deaths in the United States. It's responsible for about 400 deaths annually, and it also leads to about 100,000 emergency visits and 14,000 hospitalizations each year. What makes this even more concerning is that CO poisonings are easily preventable through simple measures like proper heating practice and the use of CO detectors. In Keene, we have several vulnerable groups who are particularly at risk of CO exposures, which is why we have developed this comprehensive community risk reduction plan. Keene has a population that includes several groups who are more susceptible to CO poisoning. About 11.5% of our population live below the poverty line, and many of these households rely on alternative heating methods like propane heaters or unvented systems, which can increase the likelihood of CO exposure. Additionally, 16% of Keene's population is over the age of 65. Older adults are more likely to use portable generators or heating devices in enclosed areas like garages in an attempt to stay warm during cold weather. For an example, if it's snowy and rainy outside, people that are less mobile may be more apt to store or use generators in unsafe areas out of fear of slip, tripping, and falling, and not understanding the risk of running a generator inside a garage. The primary goal of our community risk reduction plan is to reduce CO-related emergencies and fatalities in Keene. We're going to do this by focusing on 3 key areas: educating the community about CO poisoning, its symptoms, and the safe use of heating devices, distributing CO detectors in high-risk individuals and households, and partnering with local organizations to maximize outreach and ensure that we're reaching those who need help the most. Now, the components of the program. First thing we will do is distribute flyers with crucial information about CO poisoning to local organizations such as churches, YMCA, school, Lions clubs. The purpose of these flyers is to explain the symptoms of CO poisoning, the danger of improper use of heating devices, and the importance of CO detectors. And the hope is to be able to get this information out widespread and to as many hands as possible, because too much information can't hurt. We will be hosting community classes from September through March, which are the high-risk times. As the season change and things get colder, that's when people are more prompt to start using heating devices improperly. Now, these classes are going to cover the dangers of CO poisoning, symptoms like headaches and dizziness, and provide guidance on the safe use of heating systems and generators. We'll even have a practical demonstration so attendants can learn how to properly use these devices in a safe manner. Finally, through a grant, which Keene Fire has already been approved for, we will distribute 24 CO detectors to households at high risk. Priority will be given to the demographics we mentioned previously, and each month we're going to try to distribute 3 detectors at each of our classes. The hope is that if these classes are successful and the detectors get handed out, the department will agree to pick up the cost of continuing to supply detectors, or we'll be continuously successful in applying for the grant by showing the need and the success of our program. One important aspect of this program is going to be educating the community about CO exposure limits and symptoms so that they can kind of put a picture in their mind about how serious this can be. For example, 35 parts per million exposure just over 8 hours is considered the time-weighted average or the safe workplace limit. However, at 200 parts per million, people can begin experiencing symptoms like headaches, dizziness, and nausea. Exposure at 300 parts per million for just 3 hours can be fatal, and extreme levels like 12,800 parts per million, death can occur in 1 to 3 minutes. Now, to ensure the success of the program, the roles are going to be divided amongst key personnel. The Fire Prevention Office will take the lead in designing and distributing the flyers, hosting the community education classes, and responding to inquiries about the program. The reasons for this is that they are Monday through Friday, normal business hours, when people might be more inclined to call in and ask questions. They also have the availability to schedule adjust so that when they are hosting a class, they can schedule adjust and not cause the department overtime. And they will also more likely have a more scheduled day, so when they're trying to meet with people, they won't have hopefully they won't have the risk of having to be out on calls and miss meetings. The duty crew is going to help by having flyers in the engines in the first two pieces, so that when they're out and about, they can hand out flyers if they get asked for it. If they respond to calls where CO is an issue, they can leave the flyers behind to help educate the public. And I believe that through all this, we can make sure that the right information gets out and people get educated. For our benchmarks for measuring our success is we'll hold one class per month, September to March. We'll run a survey or like a little course evaluation after each class to see if people thought this information was helpful, how it could be better, what we could do to improve it, the whole 9 yards. We'll distribute all 24 CO detectors, hopefully, and that by distributing all of them, that should definitely show our success in hosting the classes and getting the detectors out. Also, we will hope to be able to pass out within the first little while here around 200 flyers through the classes, through the first two pieces, and just through public outreach. For a timeline, we're looking at early September. We'll kick off the program of flyer distribution and outreach to local organizations. September to March, we'll hold classes and distribute CO detectors. March, at the end of the program, we'll evaluate the results all together and gather feedback to improve on efforts. So in conclusion, the Keene Fire Department is taking a proactive step in CO safety and reducing CO risk and calls through education, outreach, and distribution of resources. And then hopefully by partnering with local organizations, engaging the community, we'll be able to build long-term awareness and resilience against CO poisoning in Keene. Thank you very much.